If you want to be an entrepreneur by becoming an indie hacker, building your own SaaS products or websites that generate you money, and you're learning how to code, and I've made a video like this recently, but I want to talk about all the things that just don't matter if you're trying to build your own business ideas. I'm not talking about entrepreneurship in the sense of like freelancing or starting your own agency or anything that works with clients directly. I'm talking about more of like being an indie hacker or an indie founder or building your own SaaS ideas and websites. So let me just get right into it. First of all, your work experience does not matter if you're trying to build a SaaS product. It doesn't matter if you have experience as a developer or if you don't have experience as a developer, because the truth is that no one's going to care whether or not you're experienced when you're building something. If you're trying to get funded by a VC, maybe that might matter, but in the world of indie hacking, the whole point is to stay away from funding and trying to build stuff on your own. So your experience really does not matter at all. What matters is that you're trying to solve a problem for a certain group of people. That's really the main thing that you need to focus on when you're trying to build something that is going to help people. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares what your background is. Nobody cares what your work experience is, as long as you're fixing a problem that annoys the shit out of them. If they're willing to pay you money because that thing bugs them so much, they're not going to care what you did before you built that thing, as long as the thing that you built actually fixes their problem. I've never used a product and was like, I wonder what that guy did for a living before he built this, or I wonder who is behind this thing. Have you ever really thought about like, gee, who's built this web app that I'm using all the time? Does it matter? No, I'm using it because it's something I need or I enjoy using. So if you're trying to build something and you're worried about like, oh, gee, I don't have any experience in doing this thing and I'm not going to be able to do it, that doesn't matter. As long as you can build something that fixes someone else's problem, you've got something that you can sell. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that does not matter at all is your tech stack or your programming language. Nobody cares. Nobody that uses your product is going to be like, did they use React or Angular for this? I wonder if the backend is PHP or Java. Nobody cares. No one cares. If you fix somebody's problem by using WordPress, no one is going to be like, oh, yuck, that uses WordPress. Straight up, there is no one that's going to be judging you on the tech that you use, except for maybe other developers who likely won't be your paying customers. If you've got something that actually solves someone else's problems and you're making money off of creating this, who cares what tech you use? I think Peter Levels, that dude uses PHP and jQuery. He's building in tech that is like 20 years old. He's building using stuff that if you went out and learned how to code today and you told me, hey, I'm learning PHP and jQuery and I'm going to try to go get a job, I'm going to be like, oh man, maybe you might be better off learning something else if you're trying to make yourself marketable for a job. But who cares if you're trying to build something that you're trying to ship quickly and make money on? It's funny because it's become a meme about how people use PHP and jQuery and are making millions, and the PHP developers are driving Lambos while everybody else is learning React and broke. Really, the thing that matters the most when it comes to deciding which tech you should use is, one, the tech that solves your problem the easiest, and two, the thing that you can build in the fastest. At the end of the day, that's really all that matters. When you start getting into the weeds about performance and this and that, most products that indie hackers or, small one-man team developers build is going to be something that's maybe used by a few hundred or a few thousand people. And that's fine, because you can make money with a couple hundred or a few thousand users. You don't need to have millions of users. You don't need to worry about scale, and you don't need to worry about performance when you're building an application that's going to have just a few hundred users, because a few hundred users at $20 or $50 a pop for a month, that's a good income. And if you get up into the thousands, that's life-changing money. You figured you get 1,000 users at $50 a month, that's $50,000. That's a lot of money. You don't need a lot of money to be comfortable. And if you're making $50,000 a month, you're doing pretty damn well. And if you've got 1,000 users, you don't need to worry about scale and you don't need to worry about optimization. PHP and jQuery is enough. So your tech stack doesn't matter. Another thing that absolutely does not matter is algorithms. Algorithms don't matter. Algorithms almost don't matter in the corporate world of getting a job as a developer. They almost only matter for FAANG and for startups that want to be FAANG. At the end of the day, not many companies test on algorithms and do whiteboard exercises. I personally have barely seen them in the wild when I've been applying. And I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. I've worked for Fortune 100 companies. I haven't worked for any FAANG companies, but I also haven't had to do any algorithm interviews, and I've made very good money doing what I do, and I'm just a web developer. At the end of the day, most web developers don't need algorithms, and you definitely don't need algorithms if you're trying to build a SaaS or if you're trying to build your own company with code. So I would definitely not waste any time bothering with algorithms at all if your goal with learning how to code is to build your own product and make money with some idea that you have. If you're trying to get a job, I would still say that algorithms might not even be necessary at that point too, but that's a topic for another video. Another thing, your portfolio. You might need it for a job. It's debatable now. A lot of people are saying you don't even need a portfolio for a job. I still think that you're better off having one than not having one. But when it comes to building your next $1 million idea website, you don't really need a portfolio. Nobody's coming to check up on you and see what you've built when you're building your own thing. And that's something that many of us tell you to do when you're learning how to code to get a job. And many of us will say that having a portfolio is pretty important. Again, a lot of people have that up for debate right now. I lean towards the side of it's better to have one than not have one. But there's a lot of nuance there, whether or not you're like a full stack developer or you're working more on the back end. Do you really need a portfolio to show off your design skills if you're not a front end developer? Whatever. Still, you don't need them if you're trying to build a SaaS or a website that's going to make you money and you're trying to market that to the masses. Nobody cares about your portfolio at that point. Another thing, your LinkedIn profile, right? It sounds silly, and I feel like I'm getting in the weeds here of like silly little things that you need for getting a job as a developer versus getting your first paying customers on your SaaS product. But nobody cares about your LinkedIn profile. Nobody's going to care about your GitHub profile or how many green dots you have on your profile. No one's going to care about that when it comes to you building something in order for you to make money off of. And it's almost a relief. And I think that many of us set out to learn how to code to get a job, and we don't realize that there's a whole nother path that you can take with programming that can make you money without needing a job. And all the hoops that you need to jump through in order to get a job just don't apply to building stuff on your own. Like none of that stuff matters when you're trying to build a product that you can sell to people. Hell, I'll even end this video by saying that you don't even need to know how to code if you're trying to build something that's a SaaS idea or a website idea or anything like that. There's so many people right now who are making a ton of money building stuff with no code tools. You almost don't even need to know how to code anymore in order to make money with code as an entrepreneur. I said I wouldn't get into freelancing in this video, but even from a freelancing standpoint, there's so many tools out there that you can use to build websites for people that you don't really need to know how to code. Of course, knowing how to code is going to make you way more capable and possibly help you a lot when it comes time to really build stuff out. But a lot of the landing page stuff, a lot of the early marketing to see if you have a real idea, to kind of put some proof behind your idea and get some of those first users to sign up. There's so many tools that just allow you to build a landing page, to collect emails. And there's a lot of tools that allow you to build just enough of a product to have your MVP to really solidify your idea and show that there's some product market fit out there for you to actually get some of those first few clients that you don't really need to know how to code. Again, no code entrepreneurs eventually hit a point where they have to hire developers. And if you know how to code and you are learning how to code and you want to become an entrepreneur and your goal is not to get a job, but to build websites and SaaS ideas that you have in order for you to market and make money off of, these are a lot of things that you don't need. And even knowing how to code might not be something that you need. It's probably best to have it before you need it. Then you'll be in a better position when you do need it. All right. With all that said, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.